watching Market Fatafat on ET now. Let's keep it going with all the stocks that are abuzz in today's trading session. And now on the technical front, we're being joined by Osho Krishan, the Senior Analyst Technical and Derivative Research at Angel One. Osho, thanks so much for joining us today. Let's talk about the first stock you've picked out for us today, and that's Asian Paints. Now, when I take a look at the 6-month chart, this stock has generated negative returns of approximately 10%, but we are seeing some rather bullish calls coming across the technical experts. So what's your view here? Are you in consensus with a buy call? Do you think now is a good time to enter the stock?
A very good afternoon, everyone. Well, looking at the overall technical developments that are being seen in Asian Paint in the last 2 to 3 trading weeks, there has been a strong consolidation in this counter, and now there is some kind of traction that can be seen, and this being a very strong support zone on weekly time frame. So near about 28 to 28.50 is a very strong support zone for Asian Paints in the historical time frame. So I'm expecting that from here onwards, looking at the traction that it is being seen in the last few trading sessions, any surge beyond the zone of 3000 and 3050 odd levels can give a very strong boost in this counter, and then it can start its reversal journey towards 3250 to 3300. So overall, for short-term perspective, 3050 is the first resistance. The time it breaches the zone, we can witness a very strong surge in Asian Paint. So that's why one should definitely keep this counter in their watch list.
Surely keeping an eye out on Asian Paints. Could see a spurt there, but let's move on to the next one. And Shilpa Medicare, this stock has been in focus in the last couple of days, but yesterday we had seen a jump up in trade. Why? Because its arm had filed for a DMF with the US FDA, so that is why it was buzzing. But today it's buzzing in trade. Why? Because we've seen Plutus Wealth Management that has bought around 0.7% stake in Shilpa Medicare, and that is why we're seeing the stock is buzzing away. And at one point of time it was up almost 9%. Right now also it's managing to hold on to gains of 8%. Now Shilpa Medicare bought around 7.5 lakh shares. Like I mentioned, that 0.7% stake in the company, it was at an average price of 492 rupees per share. Plus, in terms of the update that came in from yesterday for the DMF approval from the US FDA, and that is why Shilpa Medicare continues to be in buzz, holding on to gains today as well.
Alright, let's throw it back to the technicals once more, and Osho, ABFRL has made it to your radar now. Stock is holding up pretty smartly today. Even over the last 6 months, it's generated almost 35% return. So what's the view going ahead? Are you penciling in any slowdown, or do you expect this momentum to sustain?
See, overall, there has been a very drastic move in the current financial year for ABFRL. From the zone of approximately 200, we have seen a very strong surge in this counter, which has given a very strong rounding bottom formation on daily and weekly time frame. So still the counter looks very lucrative and has the potential to test the zone of 350. So from here onwards, I am expecting that another 30 to 35 odd points of movement is still pending in this counter, while on the lower end, 290 and 285 should be acting as a very strong support zone. So definitely for short-term traders, one should try to gauge momentum in this counter.
Alright, so that's the view coming in on ABFRL. Let's talk about a stock that's doing pretty well today, and that's Orchid Pharma. Now, this is on the back of a positive news flow. The company has received the Drugs Controller General of India, which is the DCGI's approval for the manufacturing and marketing of its invented new chemical entity, active pharmaceutical ingredient, which is the API. Which is N-matazobactam. These pharma names are really complicated, but well, yes, so that's a drug that's in focus, and the company Orchid Pharma has received the DCGI nod for this. DCGI has granted them permission to manufacture and market the finished dosage form, which is the FTF of the cefepime and this drug as a dry powder injectable as well. This formulation is indicated for the treatment of complicated urinary tract infection and hospital-acquired pneumonia, also including ventilator-associated pneumonia. So, well, this drug has received the DCGI nod, and on the back of that, Orchid Pharma holding up pretty smartly. 8% gains coming in for the stock today.
Absolutely, 8% gains coming in for the stock, keeping an eye out on that. But let's move on, talk about RVNL and Gaurav. Why is RVNL in focus? Is there one more order win that we should watch out for here?
Well, Actually, RVNL is in focus because of the order win only. And if you look at this time, the order win is worth 390 crore rupees. So the company has actually received a letter of acceptance from Eastern Railway for construction of Sitarampur bypass line. The project construction is going to be within 24 months and the project cost is going to be around 190 crore rupees. Now, we also know that RVNL also emerged as the lowest bidder for Dakshin Haryana Bijli Vitran Nigam Limited. The work which they are actually proposing is going to be around 30 months and the cost of this work is expected to be around 124 crore rupees. As we already know that RVNL recently won 2 orders. So on 29th May, the company won order worth 38 crore rupees, while on 3rd June, the company won order worth 440 crore rupees. And if we look at management outlook also, they were expecting order inflow somewhere around 20 to 25,000 crore rupees in this year itself. So on back of the order news and the order inflow that we have seen recently, definitely watching out on RVNL, because if you look at the stock performance, it is up almost more than 4.5% in a day itself. So yeah, definitely watching out on RVNL.
Alright, absolutely. One more order win coming in for RVNL after a series of order wins that we've been seeing recently for this stock. But Osho, you've picked out EID Parry for us. Tell us why this has made it to your radar, because the last 6 months, decent returns, 25% is what this has generated, and the entire sugar pack has also been in focus lately. What's your view on the technical and what are the levels to watch out for?
See, on technical developments, this counter has seen a very massive breakout around the zone of 650 odd levels, and from there onwards, it has sustained on the higher grounds for past 3 trading weeks. So I'm expecting that from here onwards, the overall trend has turned to be extremely bullish in this counter, and definitely with the kind of a setup that it has formed, I'm expecting a target of nearly 760 in the short-term period. While on the lower end, again 650 followed by 620 should be seen as a long-term support zone for this counter, while on the higher end 760 to 780 can be seen as the target for short to medium-term perspective.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on that one. Let's move on and talk about BHEL. The stock at one point of time rallied as much as 14.5%, more than that, around that level. Right now, given up those gains of 14.5%, but still holding out a gains of 9.4%. Why was BHEL in focus? They said they've received an order of around 3,500 crores order from Adani Power to establish 1,600 megawatt of thermal power plant at Raipur and Chhattisgarh. Quoting them in the press release, they said they've received this order of 2 times 800 megawatt of TPP, that is Raipur and Chhattisgarh, standing at an order value of 3,500 crores. So on the back of this, we're keeping an eye out on BHEL today, trading with gains of 9% as of now.
Alright, very stellar moves coming in for BHEL today, but another pack of stocks that is in focus today is the housing finance companies, and this is on the back of a note that Jefferies has released this morning. They believe that the Modi government may announce the much awaited revamped affordable housing scheme, and even when we interacted with multiple industry participants, they are all hoping for a revamped version of the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, which is the PMAY. So we'll be closely watching on this front. But Jefferies also says that affordable housing finance companies, the likes of Home First Finance and Awas Financier, should be direct beneficiaries if this scheme does kick into place. And mid-ticket segment players, the likes of LIC Housing Finance and Canfin Homes, will also see some tailwind if this scheme comes into place. Now, when it comes to Jefferies' preferred picks, they prefer Awas Financiers and Home First Finance amongst affordable housing players. And from the housing segment, from just the housing finance players, Canfin Homes is what has made it to their list. So all of these stocks are holding up pretty smartly in today's trading session on the back of this brokerage notes from Jefferies this morning.
Absolutely, we are keeping an eye out on that with the brokerage note from Jefferies this morning. But all eyes are on TDP and JDU's next move ahead of the government's formation. And JDU leader KC Tyagi said that there is a lot of resentment around that Agniveer scheme and that the Uniform Civil Code needs extensive dialogue before implementation. Let's go across and listen.
अग्निवीर योजना को लेकर के मतदाताओं के एक हिस्से में नाराजगी रही है। हमारी पार्टी चाहती है कि विस्तार से
Welcome back, and you're watching Market Fatafat on ET. Now let's move on to the next stock on the technicals, and Subros Limited. That's the one you've picked out for us, Osho. Last 6 months managed to see around 35-36% return, somewhere around that. What is the view and target that you have on Subros now?
Overall, the primary trend for this counter is still very bullish, and recently we have seen it retesting the zone of nearly 200-day SMA, from where it has again started gaining some traction. So it is on the verge of giving a very strong sloping trendline breakout, which comes around the zone of nearly 620-625. The time it gives the breakout, I am expecting a very strong target of over 740 odd levels from medium-term perspective. So definitely one should try to keep this counter in their watch list. The time it gives a very strong breakout, there can be immense movement that can be seen backed by very strong volumes in this counter.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on that. Let's move on and pull up the charts for Z. We just have the announcement that is coming in that overall they wish to inform that the board of the company was holding the meeting for the fundraising plan. Now they've approved the fundraising plan, and that is going to be, they will be raising funds of an amount not exceeding 2,000 crore rupees. Approval surely from is still pending from the shareholder side. That may be required, but yes, 2,000 crores is what the fundraising is at. They are looking at, it'll be either through QIPs, preferential issue, private placement is what they may look at. So yes, we're keeping an eye out on that. 2,000 crores is what they will be looking to raise. The form in which they will be raising, that we're watching out for, as well as this may require some bit of a shareholder approval, but as of now the board approval is at least there in place.
Exactly, so that's a positive for the stock. They've also said that this will allow the company to enhance strategic flexibility. So we'll just have to wait and watch what happens on this front, because interesting things can grow up here after the merger with Sony was called off, and they're also looking at future growth opportunities. So that is Z for you, up 6.5% almost as we speak right now. But let's keep us going with all the other stocks then, and Orion Pro Solutions is the one to watch out for today, because Integro Technologies, which is a subsidiary of the company, today has announced its partnership with the Yoma Bank in Myanmar to revolutionize their SME lending operations. Now together, the subsidiary as well as the joint implementation partner, the platform will introduce a range of features. These include the integration of a scorecard-based obligor risk rating, financial spreading and analysis, and automated approval process based on the approval matrix. You also have API-driven interfaces to streaming the SME lending process, and robust policy exception and early warning capability. So lots of system upgrades is what Orion Pro is looking to bring to this Yono Bank that they have, Yoma Bank, that they've partnered up with in Myanmar. And on the back of that, the stock was holding up to some gains in the morning, but now those gains have fizzled off. But nonetheless, in the positive, 0.3% higher is where Orion Pro is trading right now.
Let's move on to the next stock and talk about a private bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank. Osho, what is our view on this one? Because YTD performance, 1 year performance, Kotak Mahindra Bank has not been the one that has been gaining. What is the view now on this private bank?
Overall, as you have mentioned, the counter has not provided very strong returns in the past few years, but overall, looking at the setup that it is having as of now, it is based on a very strong support zone near about the zone of 1650 to 1680 odd levels, and from here onwards it always sees a very strong movement towards the zone of 1950 to 2000. So for short-term traders, there is potential in this counter for approximately 250 to 280 odd points, and for that movement one should definitely try to accumulate this counter. Being a very strong fundamentals and a large cap company, definitely the risk at current level is very minimal in this counter, and I expect a decent move from short to medium term perspective.
Alright, that's the view coming in on Kotak Bank. But Gaurav, talk to us about why you've picked out NBCC, because the stock is surely seeing some smart moves today. Tell us what's the trigger here.
Yes, NBCC is yet another candidate who has actually won an order, and on back of this we saw the stock is up almost by 5.5%, and the order win for the company is going to be around 491 crore rupees. And if you look at the order breakup, around 240 crore worth of order has been coming from central government as well as Ministry of External Affairs. Now if you look at the company has a very optimistic plan for FY25. As per the con call, management was targeting almost 22 to 25,000 crores of orders in this year itself. And if we talk about this order specifically, given that the company has already won an order worth 450 crore rupees, the stock is also reacting positively. And on back of this, if we look at stock performance, the stock has actually given more than 200% returns in the last year for investors. So definitely watching out on if this momentum continues for NBCC and if the shareholders gain from the stock from here on as well.
Surely keeping an eye out on NBCC there. Let's move on to the next stock, and coming from the realty pack is, oh, not realty, FMCG, sorry, I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. That is Godrej Consumers. FMCG is the trend, right? After those election days, and since then we've seen this trending Osho. What is the verdict for Godrej Consumers from you? Where do you see it headed?
See, overall from FMCG pack, two counters were my top pick. One was Tata Consumer, other one was Godrej CP. So still, Godrej CP looks very positive to me. It has given a very strong breakout above the zone of 1300 and has marched towards 1450. So if there will be any kind of cool off towards the zone of 1350, 1320 odd levels, that should be auguring very well for this counter. And on the higher end, 1500 is the target that one can expect in the short term. So overall, the trend has shifted upwards. The overall range has shifted upwards. The 1300 to 1500 is the next potential range that one can eye for in Godrej CP.
Okay, keeping an eye out on those levels over there for Godrej Consumers. Let's move on and talk about alcohol beverage companies, so USL, UBL. Let's keep an eye out on that. While we're keeping an eye out, we have a note that's coming from Citi. Now, they believe that the NDA has proposed easing liquor regulations in the state of Andhra Pradesh, and Citi sees a potential of favorable regulations that could come in for the liquor industry there. So yes, we are keeping an eye out on this one. They also said that, Andhra Pradesh used to contribute around 5 to 6% both for United Breweries as well as United Spirits before there was a change in terms of the policy in 2019. Now they expect this change back. So we're keeping an eye out on both these stocks today. But we had also managed to speak to Madhu Kela. So I would, the market veteran who spoke about liquor stocks and in terms of what he believes in terms of the long-term trajectory here and the theme that is playing out here. Let's go across and listen in.
There is no reason why liquor industry will not be as vibrant in India as it is there in China. We have more people as compared with China now, younger population, who will look to consume liquor once our per capita income increases. We have seen in lot of other sectors, in lot of other places that this liquor consumption has increased, and hence there has been birth of many valuable companies. I've been invested in Radico for a long time. You have seen what a fabulous journey this company has had in last 17-18 years. They were selling whiskey at 500 rupees a bottle. Now they sold, the same company has sold a whiskey at 5 lakh rupees a bottle. Right? They sold 400 cases few months back at 5 lakh rupees a bottle. And the brand is globally recognized now. If you are able to build a brand, then you make serious money in this sector, and that is what is being proven by Pernod Ricard, by Diageo worldwide. If you look at their brand, they are selling one bottle of 750 grams at 25,000, 30,000, 40,000 rupees.
Alright, that's the word coming in from market veteran Madhu Kela, who's very positive on the long-term structural opportunity that the liquor space has to offer in India. Very interesting view coming over there. But Osho, let me come to you for your technical take once more. And TCS is the stock that you are flagging off for us today. Last 6 months, not doing much at all. And in fact, today we've also had a brokerage note coming in from Jefferies, and they've said that margin pressures on IT seems like that's going to continue going ahead. Despite all of this, do you still think that TCS has some room to grow? What are the levels you're spotting?
Well, I have witnessed a very strong reversal kind of a pattern in TCS. It has formed a dragonfly kind of a doji at the 200-day SMA on the 4th of this month. So I'm expecting that is the short-term bottom for this counter, and one can expect a decent upside movement in TCS. On immediate basis, the higher target comes around the zone of 3950 to 3980. The time it breaches those zones, then we can witness a very strong reversal. But for the time being, 3680 to 3980 is the zone that one can expect in TCS. Overall, the biasness seems to turning bullish, and the technical parameters have seen a kind of a positive development with a positive crossover in major of the oscillator. So definitely one can try to gauge momentum in major of the IT companies, specifically with TCS.
Surely keeping an eye out on TCS. That was stock number 34 today. But with that, we are absolutely out of time in this edition of Market Fatafat. So thank you so much, Osho, Gaurav, as well as Ashish for joining in with us on the show. But with that, it's a goodbye from Sneh, myself, as well as the team who put the show together. But as we go into the break, what should an investor be and how should they approach the PSU pack, given that we've seen a sharp fall coming in terms of the day when the election was happening? What are the views and big voices talking about the PSU sector? Let's go cross and listen.
Market loves myths, I mean, myth of public sector company, myth of private sector company. I think that has to be broken down, but markets work the way it works. I mean, they love to put PSU as a separate category altogether and private sector as a separate category, and that's how they pick a stock. So everything goes up and everything goes down. But I would think that time has come where public sector companies should be seen on its merit rather than just because it is a private public sector company.
I think what could be affecting is more of a psychological impact in terms of P multiple for a very near-term perspective. But I think these cycles have reversed completely from a longer-term perspective. So I think we live with that some pain. If you have gain of last 2.5 years, you have sitting on massive gain, which we are. I'm happy to live with 1 quarter pain also, because my longer-term thesis, and when we talk about that India or PSU are decadal opportunity, then I will not get upset just because of 1 quarter fear of underperformance.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.